with the sound. There's somebody way back there sorting it. Thank you very much indeed. I'm Cllr Woodward, I'm leader of Fareham Borough Council. I'm going to give a short introduction this evening, and then our Principal Planning Officer, Mark Wyatt, will be going through the revised Wellborn application in some detail, and then we will have plenty of time for questions after that. Okay, well, we go back to 2015, June 2015, which is when the Wellborn plan was adopted by the Borough Council, and we might reasonably have expected at that time that there would be a planning application actually in as a part of that inquiry which had gone into the Wellborn plan, but that didn't actually happen. So we moved from 2015 when the plan was adopted, and after we waited the rest of 2015 and into the start of 2016, we decided that we would need to adopt a different development strategy for Wellborn, because there was no sign of a planning application. There was no sign of landowners entirely able to promote their land. We had one landowner, now Buckland Development, owning around half of the site. We had another landowner owning around 40% of the site. That was a family with 3 siblings in it, the Benge family. And then we had various other small landowners owning other parts. But the important thing about a plan the size of Wellborn, there's 6,000 homes, maybe 6,000 jobs, and a massive infrastructure, infrastructure like a new motorway junction, a secondary school, 3 primary schools, and everything else that goes with it. You can't afford to have it promoted in bits, with one landowner coming forward with an application for a bit of it, when maybe the major piece of infrastructure, like a new motorway junction, is sitting in somebody else's land ownership. So what we decided to do in February 2016, as nothing seemed to be moving, was to put in place a development strategy, which meant the council went out to look for a development partner and said that if things don't really sort of get moving, we will pursue potentially a compulsory purchase order to take the whole of the site into single ownership and have a development partner who would then fund and promote. Well, once we did that, things did start to move, once we suggested that that might be the way forward. So then, within 2 months of that, we were in a situation where we were providing a lot of pre-application advice to Buckland, which at that time was the 50% landowner, who were working on putting together a planning application for the entire site. The other family, which I mentioned, the Benge family, who really couldn't agree amongst themselves who of the 3 of them would promote their land, they went off to the High Court to try and sort it out between themselves, which one would promote. And in fact, the judge said, none of you will. The land will be sold, will be placed on the market and sold. So that was done, and the land was then purchased, the other 40% of the site, by Buckland. So we now have one single landowner who owns something over 90% of the Wellborn site, and we have the council that owns some small element of it as well, and a couple of other landowners which Buckland is steadily buying the land from. So that's where we were back in April of 2016. In 2017, Wellborn was awarded by the government Garden Village status, which was a statement on the sort of quality of development that would be expected there, and also opened up very significant possibilities of public sector funding to enable some of the very high tag items of infrastructure in Wellborn to be constructed. I talk about a motorway junction, many tens of millions of pounds. Already we've got probably about £40 million of public money committed to that, and the developers will need to pay the remainder of it. So from March, so what happened then is we got a planning application in March 2017 from Buckland, covering pretty well the entirety of the Wellborn site, and we started to consult on that. And we spent a couple of months consulting, had many, many comments came in from the general public and from a lot of the statutory undertakers, people like Highways England, Natural England, the various energy companies and others. Many comments came in, And then, just after that, the Buckland development secured the rest of the land, so that was in July 2017. So consequent on all of those comments that had been received, Buckland clearly had an awful lot of work to do to get their planning application in a fit state that the council could actually determine it. So they put in a revised application, same application but changed. In the picture there, what it looked like. It's not just a few extra sheets of paper. In fact, the revisions were bigger than the original planning application. So a very, very significant piece of work was done, incorporating many of those comments that people like you have made, comments that all of these statutory bodies have made as well, as I say, to get it into a fit state for the council actually to be able to determine it. So lots and lots of detailed work has gone into that, and that application is now being consulted upon at the moment. And there are a number of significant changes in it, and Mark will go into it in much more detail than I am, mainly on transport. So the Junction 10, which is now being promoted by Hampshire County Council, in fact it's the largest highway scheme the County Council has ever been involved in. So the county now is promoting that scheme, putting it all together. There's within the plan, there's a proposed rail halt as well, making sure that the land is available so we don't make any decisions on Wellbourne which would preclude actually allowing it to have rail access. Also in terms of community facilities, we went through a bit of a bumpy patch with the local NHS because they had said at the beginning of the Wellbourne planning process, oh yes, we should have a 9GP surgery within Wellbourne. The council was up for that, the developers were certainly up to provide it. And then after the plan was adopted, the NHS suddenly said, oh no, we don't think there should be any health facilities in Wellbourne at all. And we said, well, so will you please change the plan? We said, no, we absolutely won't. Wellbourne needs to have health and wellbeing facilities. The developers want Wellbourne, not surprisingly, they're trying to sell homes to have health facilities. So there will be a building, and we are now engaged with the NHS in working out exactly, with NHS estates, working out exactly what that building should look like. So unlike the north of Whiteley development, for instance, where there's 3,500 new homes, no health facilities at all, Wellbourne will have something on site which the NHS is helping with the design of at the moment. So, and also in terms of the secondary school and primary schools, and I mentioned there was a secondary school and 3 primary schools, the proposal, which I'm really pleased about, is that the secondary school and a primary school should be a through-flow school, so children will join the campus at 4, potentially be there right the way through to 18. So that would be, I think, quite a positive development. So those are the some of the basic changes to it. Also changes to the phasing of the development as well. So that's a little bit of outline. I'm now going to ask Mark Wyatt, our Principal Planning Officer, to go into much more detail. He's got dozens and dozens of slides, but we've done this once before. It didn't really take too long at all. So then we'll be able to open it up for questions and comments after that. So,